peoples! Last time on the Artistic Biker was a very, very, very long time ago. I don't think I've done an evening show in, what, 5 years? It's been a very, very long time since I've done an evening show. But I've been doing, for the last 208 days, I've been doing morning shows where I start at 5:30 in the morning and I sketch a random object. And I've been having a lot of fun with that. Lately, I've been really getting the urge to get back in front of a larger crowd in the evening. 5:30 in the morning Texas time. There aren't very many people in my neck of the woods that are awake and alert at that time of the day. So I get a lot of people from the Netherlands. I get Elizabeth and Claudia from the Netherlands. Ivy wakes up because she's got cats to deal with. I've got people in India coming in. I've got people in Australia coming in. I've got people in New Zealand coming in. But I don't get a lot of Texans, Oklahomans, New Yorkers, or Californians, or anybody in between. So I've really been itching to have another live stream in the evening. So I think I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to start doing this on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Just a brief rundown on what the plan is. Today we're going to watercolor a pumpkin. I went to the Walmarts and got some pumpkin pictures that I'm going to share with you here in a minute. So we're going to watercolor some pumpkins, and then on Tuesdays going forward, we're going to pick a book and illustrate it and go through the entire process of how to pick the book, how to write it out, how to illustrate it, and how to publish it. And we're going to start from scratch and work through the books, and we're going to try and turn out an illustrated book about once every 4 months. So that's what we're going to do on Tuesdays. On Thursdays, we're going to continue to do stuff like this, watercolor and acrylics. And so, like I said, I've got some pumpkins. Let's turn the page and get started. Oh, that was a long introduction. I'm not sure that I can deal with long introductions like that. That's a long-winded introduction. You know what I miss is Ustream, because on Ustream we could talk and then I didn't have to put that directly to YouTube. It didn't go live right off the bat. But I want to show you real quick. I went to Walmart and I got these pictures of these pumpkins, and I printed them, and then I edited them together. So here's the printed pictures where I have they're printed in black and white. I composed the picture, so I took the picture and I printed them in black and white, and then I dug out this old watercolor of a spoopy moon for the Halloweeny season. I dug out this old watercolor of a spoopy moon, and I collaged it together into this, and I thought that would make a really nice spoopy Halloweeny painting. So that's what I'm going to do tonight, and we're going to go through the whole process. Yeah, since I composed the picture, I'm comfortable tracing it. So we're just going to do that instead of me trying to draw it. I mean, I could draw it. It's pretty simple. But I've got everything I need here to trace it. I have carbon paper. I have colored carbon paper, which is how I would transfer an image from my sketchbook to a canvas in the first place, is I would have some colored carbon paper. Let's see, let's use red. I think the red will hide things pretty well. Whoa. We'll put that red down on there. Tell you what, let's put some blue tape around the edges of the watercolor paper first. It has been a very long time since I've done this. I've been doing sketches. I've been doing little illustrative sketches. Like I said, every morning at 5:30. I've been doing them every morning since March. And so you would think that I would be really comfortable doing watercolors, but this is not a sketch. I mean, it could be. I could turn this into an illustration. But this is more of a watercolor demonstration, and I haven't done one in so long. I had to stop and remember how to set up my palette. I had to stop and remember what brushes I wanted to use, what techniques were best for what I wanted to do. I had to go look a lot of that stuff up because, you know, I'm old. You don't use it, you lose it. I haven't even thought about doing stuff like this in such a long time. I know nobody can relate to being old like that. And I'm not that old. I'm just, you know, about to be 55, and I feel like I'm ready for the retirement home. This is not a required step. I just like to do this because I like the look. I like the look of a clean border. Some people like that. Some people like that that edge where it's all modeled or and painted right up to the edge of the paper. And I don't like that. This gives me an opportunity to make sure that I stay on the paper. I have a tendency to wander off the paper with my composition, and this keeps it all in frame for me. So it's more of a visual aid than a means to protect the paper. But I do like the look of a clean white border after the painting's done. So I sing you to sleep after the loving. All right. So we'll put our transfer paper down. It's carbon transfer paper. My ceiling fan is playing havoc with all of my paper that's lying around here. What did I do with my mask with my scotch tape? We'll scotch tape that in place so it can't blow around while I do this. It might have been easier or faster for me just to sketch it, especially given that I'm throwing stuff. I'm still going to have to stop and pick that up because I'll need tape to put the image down. Where did it go? Where did it go? Is it within reach? No, it's gone. Gone into the darkness. All right, masking tape it is. Masking tape it is. So we'll just take that, and we'll anchor it down with some masking tape across the top, and we'll anchor it down with some masking tape. I got a crease there. Try our best not to let that crease interfere with this part. I've got a little sculpting tool that has a rounded tip so that it won't scratch into the paper. But basically, hey Linda, basically it just lets me go around the edges and mark in where I want the details that I want to keep so that I don't lose them. So we'll just spend a minute here transferring this drawing with this carbon paper. Some of it I still have to imagine because I collaged the photographs together. They're not necessarily complete pumpkins. So some of it I have to imagine anyway. Get that moon where it goes. And we'll get that cloud coming across that moon, and we'll get that cloud coming across this side, and maybe one more cloud right there, and a horizon line way off back here in the distance, like that. That should work for us. Let's see what it does. I may end up having to draw it anyway. I'm going to hang this up here where I can reference it if I need to, if it doesn't all fall. All right, let's see. Hopefully that transferred cleanly. Sure enough. Now the beauty of this is regular. This is like regular old carbon copy paper, which means I can get 3,000 or 4,000 uses of it. And I'm a cheapskate, so I'm going to save it. I can see that I missed a line, so I'm going to come back with a colored pencil, and I'm going to add that line that I missed back in. Yeah, it comes in different colors. I've got a whole slew of colors here. I've got red, blue, yellow, orange, red, yellow, red, blue, yellow, orange, green, 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 red, purple, yellow, orange, green, green. Now I have to figure out how to get it back in there. Performance issues. It happens with men my age. This is not a children's show. All right. So there we have our rendering. There's our guide. So we're gonna watercolor that. There's my little girl. Hi, little girl.
Hi, Daddy.
You need something?
I was just kissing you. We're gonna run. Let's go.
Okay. Have a good time.
Yep.
You wait. You guys should see her. Look at this.
Oh, I look goofy.
Look at this. Look how big, look how big she is.
Hello.
She's so big. That's crazy. She's so big. She's so very big. Anyway, back to what we were doing. It's just crazy. So I'm going to spritz my watercolors. I should have done that beforehand, so they'll be nice and creamy. I broke out the professional watercolors. I don't know what all colors I have intended to use tonight. I have a palette set aside, but I'm not real sure. Yeah, that's girl too. Look how big she is. It is like folding a map, Linda. Do you see how big she was? It's exactly like folding a map. I'm going to wet the paper so that our watercolors don't soak up and dry too fast, so I can't do stuff. Right? And we're going to start with a grayscale underpainting, a grisaille underpainting. Make sure this is nice and even. No pools of water. And while that's doing that, I can come over here and I can get my Payne's Gray going, which I probably could have used that same brush for. Right? Imagine how I feel. You should see the baby. Boy, too. He's 6'2". He's huge. He's just a little guy. He's just a baby. So we'll get some moon markings going in here. Make sure we have enough water that flows nice and smooth. Get my brush loaded up. But get enough water. I don't want to go as dark as possible right off the bat. I want to build up to it. Because like I said, it's been a very long time since I've done this. So we've got some moon stuff going on here. We have some cloud stuff going on here. We have some pumpkin shapes. Going on here. This stuff will, I promise you, this stuff will dry lighter than it's going on. This just gives us a feel for how everything's going to flesh out, how everything's going to shade out. And then we can start loading up that background. Make sure that the landscape background is nice and dark. And you can see it starts to take shape real quick. I do love that. See, it's already starting to lighten up over here on this side. This may go really fast. We may do 2 or 3 paintings on it. Who knows? I'm excited. Like I said, it has been a very, very long time since I've done it. So I'm excited to get a chance to do it again. So I mentioned during the setup, I have been coming in at 5:30 in the morning and starting streaming every day. I've been having a lot of fun with that. Where I pick a random object out of the Random Object Randomogrifier and draw it. Even the best watercolors fade when they're dry. Hi, Ivy. She's bebopping around tonight. Had to stop by and give me a like. Thank you so much. But yeah, you're right, Linda. The best watercolors. These are what I refer to as my daughter's college fund watercolors. These are the watercolors that we joke about how they cost more than my daughter's college. So these are we actually refer to these as the college fund watercolors. I'm gonna start making that hillside darker because here in a minute we're going to dry this, and when I do, we're going to come in with some other Payne's Gray stuff, and I want to make sure some variation in there, just a little bit of variation, but I still want it to be nice and dark. Should have brought a salt shaker out here. I can't believe I didn't bring a salt shaker out here. Next time, things I need to put on the list of things to keep in the studio. I had a salt shaker out here, and I moved it into the house because I was making bacon and eggs. So my cardiologist told me I'm not supposed to have bacon and eggs anymore, and I told him he could keep all that to himself. He said, "Don't you want to live longer?" And I said, "Not without bacon and eggs." That's a true story. Not without bacon and eggs, I don't. All right, how are we doing over here? Let's see. Let's not get too carried away with this stuff up here. I'm still debating whether or not I want to turn that pumpkin into a jack-o'-lantern or if I just want to leave it as a pumpkin. What do you guys think? You guys in the chat, discuss it amongst yourselves and let me know what you think. Should we turn it into a jack-o'-lantern? Because it is Halloweeny season. Should we turn it into a jack-o'-lantern or should we leave it as a pumpkin? Because it's pretty cool either way. Hey, Dad. I think it's pretty cool either way. So I'm okay. I'm okay either leaving it as a pumpkin or a jack-o'-lantern. You guys talk about that amongst yourselves, and we'll worry about that here in just a minute. Let me dry this real quick, and then we're going to continue on with some more of the grayscale work. So let's just hadn't really considered putting a bat on there, Ivy. That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. Let's see here. The first thing I want to do now is I want to darken that sky. We're going to do that. I'm going to start with just blue. And then I'll come back and add texture to it with some other colors. But I'm just going to start with blue. Because we don't want anything in the sky to be white except for the moon. And what we absolutely want is we want all of the sky to be warm colors. I'm sorry, cool colors. We want all of the sky to be cool colors so that whatever we do with the pumpkins will just really pop out. Your eye is more attracted to warm colors. So if I start with cool colors, then when I come back in with the warm colors, it will really pull your eye to it. See, this blue is kind of warm comparatively. Probably has just a touch of yellow in it to make it look brighter. And we're not stopping with the blue. The blue is just to make sure that there's no white sky. But we have to make the moon glow. And it has to glow it has to glow cool. And we absolutely want some gradation in that sky. We want to have some swirling gases and some gradation. We may come back with acrylic at the end and add some starlight in. That may be something we do. But I hadn't considered putting a bat on there. I might put a bat on there just for you, Ivy. While that blue is drying, I'm going to go ahead and put a yellow wash over the pumpkins. My brush is not rinsing all the way out. The dangers of a synthetic brush. But while that blue is drying, I'm going to go ahead and put a yellow wash over the pumpkins. So we'll have the cool sky and the warm pumpkins. Like I said, it has been a very, very long time since I've done this. I may forget some very important points. If I forget to talk, or if I forget to tell you guys something, let me know. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I'm going to be here. I have plans to be here until at least 9. Maybe later. We'll see. Like I said, we may end up doing 2 of these. Maybe we'll start the book. Who knows? My intention is to start streaming on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And on Tuesdays, I'm going to illustrate a book. I'm going to document the whole process of going online and finding a book in the public domain and then editing it down so that we can use it to illustrate. And then I'm going to illustrate. I'm going to go through the entire process. All right, let me dry that real quick. Tuesday nights. It'll be Tuesday nights, Ivy. Is that when you game? So Ivy's concerned about missing her friend's stream if I stream on Tuesdays. Tuesdays are a busy day for streams. Yeah, I'm looking to stream from 6:30 to at least 9 o'clock on Tuesdays. It's going to be especially important because the first book that I'm doing, I want to be finished with it by the first week of December, so I can get it into the self-publishing platform by the first week of December. that way people can order it for Christmas. So that is the major push. So I'm going to do on Thursday this week, today, and Thursday next week, I'm going to do Halloweeny stuff. But then for the remainder of November and until the first week of December, I'm going to focus on the book, making sure that I can get the book done. I've got a little yellow ochre here. I want to really thin that yellow ochre down. Maybe add a touch of blue. I want to make just a little bit of greenish gray there, but I want it real light. I certainly don't want to overpower the moon, but I just want the moon to have some color to it. I don't want the moon to be stark white. If it's stark white, it'll pull your eye away from whatever I do with the pumpkins. So I just don't want that. Right? Now then, let's try a little experiment. I probably should have used There's my mom. Why do you have a different name? Why do you have a different name? I probably should have used the yellow transfer paper instead of the red transfer paper. That red is probably going to come back and bite me by being visible throughout the whole thing. We'll see. We'll see. Like I said, we're going to build it up in layers. Can't talk, Harding. Ivy streams. She games and she colors, and there's a whole group of people that she follows that color along with her. That color also got a whole community going on over there. It's really very cool what she's got going on over there. I'd hate to mess that up just because I want to stream on Tuesdays, but it's not going to stop me. The main reason I'm streaming on Tuesdays, subtle hint, what? The main reason I want to stream on Tuesdays is because my kids have scouts on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I'm not missing time with them. Tell you what, let's stop there and let's take our pencil. If we're going to put a jack-o'-lantern in, this is the time to do it. Right? If we don't put the jack-o'-lantern in now, we'll have already used up our opportunity. Can't talk, Harding. All right, so then we're going to have the meat of the eyeball there. Can we see the bottom, or are we looking down? Are we looking? I think we're looking almost dead on with the eye. And here, let's say we're looking a little bit below the pumpkin. We're a little above the pumpkin. Right? Okay. Now I tell you what I'm going to do, because we decided to do that. I'm going to come in with some gouache, some white gouache, and I'm going to make sure, because we decided it after the fact, I'm going to make sure that all the shadow lines and all of the pencil marks are covered up. So that they don't distract from us. They don't detract from the end painting. We want to make sure it looks like it's glowing. You picked up some red. Didn't mean to pick up some red. Be all right, but I didn't mean to. Okay. I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that again, just a little bit more, because I do think these pencil marks are going to be a distraction when we get to this part. Just these marks right here. All right. And then I think I'm going to put a little halo around the moon, just because I can. Just a little bit of a halo around the moon. Yeah, I can't talk and stay in the lines at the same time. And I get some water and run some water out here to the edge so that can flow. So that can flow away. bring the water to the flow and just let it flow into it. That way it'll spread out and halo into it. And then we can make the moon just a little more stark. Like so. Start adding some highlights to the clouds. Like that. Then we can start coming in with some orange on our pumpkins. And we can go back to the big brush. This is when it gets fun, right? This is when we start. This is what we're here for. This is what we're down for, is the pumpkins. Do I have my phone nearby? I do have my phone nearby. Were you trying to call me? I don't show a missed call. When you do this, make your brush strokes in the direction of the fibers of the pumpkin. Just like painting fur. The pumpkin has a fibrous body. There's my mom. We talked about my mom being on speakerphone tonight instead of on my Bluetooth headset. That way you guys can hear her giggle at my jokes, and she can't sneak up on us. Hi, Mama.
Hey.
She said, hey, hey. Did you not expect to be put on live blast like that? Can you not hear me?
You have a headshot over your left shoulder where we just see your head.
It's a bald spot. I'm trying to show up my bald spot. I should move. When it goes to that camera, I need to make sure that I'm not there.
Technical difficulty.
Yeah, you're not muted. You and I are talking live. So yeah, when you do this part,
You're doing a good job.
When you do this part, follow the stream, follow the fibers of the pumpkins. Any mistakes you make can be made to be, you can believe that they are variations in the pumpkin skin. I haven't chosen a book yet. I've narrowed it down to a few choices. I want to talk about that on Tuesday, but I'm excited about it. And there's a lull in the conversation here because the chatters are quiet. But I've got it narrowed down to a few, and then we'll start taking crowd suggestions as we go along, because I intend to do that for the foreseeable future. I think it would be fun to not only go through the process of doing it and share that process with you, but to end up with a new book every 3 or 4 months that I can self-publish. I just think that would be loads of fun. Uh-oh, she hung up on me. Just wanted to tell me about my bald head. When are you starting the book? Okay, so Tuesday next week is when we're going to sit down. I'm going to start streaming about 6:30, and we're going to go online and we're going to start looking at books in the public domain, because it's all well and good to have an idea of what books I want to do, but if they're not in the public domain, then it's not going to work out. So Tuesday, this coming Tuesday is when we should start it that day, 6:30 p.m. And then, like I said, on Thursday of next week, I think I'm going to paint a zombie. Because that'll be the day before Halloween. I'm not sure if I'll paint a zombie or not. We'll narrow that down as we get closer to Tuesday, or Thursday rather. But then after that, the only other thing is the first Thursday of November, I'm going to do a Christmas card. And then the remainder of November, I'll do the book on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and maybe a couple of Saturdays, because like I said, it's a strong push to get this one done before Christmas. All that while still getting up at 5:30 every morning and broadcasting the random objects from the Random Object Randomogrifier, and still putting out a blog that has lesson plans for school teachers for free, and still we're not going to stop anything. We're just adding stuff in. Whee! All right. Now let's go back to that sky. My chair broke. My footrest on my chair broke. I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to brace myself to hold myself in place, and my footrest on my chair broke. I am crazy busy. Central time. Yes, ma'am. Texas time. I am wicked busy. I want to give that sky one more pass in blue while that orange is setting up, and then we'll work on that face of that jack-o'-lantern. This time we're going to avoid the clouds and the moon. You know what? That gouache is still wet right there around that glow. Let me dry that real quick, because I don't want that to mess up. Hi, Diablo girl. She's on the vertical side. We stream horizontally and vertically. YouTube's supposed to have a new feature where they can let you stream horizontally and vertically at the same time on the same stream key with the same chat. And the problem I have with that is because I have the camera changes, I don't think the camera changes will work across the new feature. I think the camera changes will only work the way I'm doing it. So until I get more guidance on that, I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. But the vertical side draws in the people watching on their phone. And the horizontal side draws in the people that are watching on their televisions. There's a huge contingency of people out there watching YouTube on their televisions. It's me. I'm the people. All right. Now, let's start working on that jack-o'-lantern face a little bit. Put the big brush away. Pull out the smaller brush. Come in with this yellow again. And get this pumpkin meat nice and yellowy. Look at this big piece of orange right here I missed. I never even noticed that. I'll have to come back and fix that. I will have to come back and fix that. Let's address that right this second. There we go. Now, got some burnt sienna. I'm going to put a light base coat of burnt sienna on all of these stems. And then we'll come back with some greens and stuff. And then I'll use the gouache to add highlights if I need to. But I want to make sure, like I said, I want to make sure there's no white before I come back with whatever color I'm going to come back with. I'm going to start with some burnt sienna on these stems. That is wicked hard to see up there. Now then. Somebody said they wanted a bat. I think we should put a couple of bats across here. Is it really Halloweeny without a bat? I mean, honestly, if you don't put a bat on there, can you really call it Halloweeny? And we're going to start adding some details in. A little bit as we go, a little bit as we go. The barrel of these brushes picks up a little bit of water. I've been using a water brush for so long that I forget that I have to get the excess paint off of the excess water off of these brushes before I can move on. There's a glare just right there. If I could tip that up just a little bit, get that glare where I can see around it. What we're going to do next is we're going to start shading the pumpkins with some darker orange. I'm going to add just a little more light yellow across here. I know this is the nail biter for Ivy because I didn't add the yellow first. She's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? You can't be going back in and adding. You can't be going back in and adding yellow in after you've already added another color. It doesn't work. Be all right. Be all right. I promise you. Promise you. Be all right." Ivy broke 2 nails today watching me paint. I hate when I break a nail. She didn't say that. She said, "I didn't say that." What just happened? Get a little gouache. Get a little gouache with a little burnt sienna. Get a little gouache. Get a little gouache with a little burnt sienna. Get a little gouache with a little burnt sienna. Hit these areas like that. Then we can come back with a little Payne's gray, a little yellow ochre to make us a nice green. Right? More, maybe a touch of this crimson, maybe our allergen. Yeah, there we go. Get us a nice green going right there. Nice green gray. Lots of water. And then let's start. Let's start moving around these pumpkins. Shading them. I'm going to use a two-brush method here. I'm going to use one brush with just water and one brush with just paint. And that way I can get the paint to spread evenly without worrying about having to rinse my brush off every time in between. Be like Ivy. Have Wolverine brushes. If you ever watched her watercolor, she'll have 5 or 6 different shades of blue in her hand at one time. She's walking around like Wolverine. I'm down for it. Oh, that was the wrong brush. A little more blue, a little more Payne's gray, a little more ochre. We're making a nice mud, but we want a green mud. That way it'll really stand out against that pumpkin. It's not darkening up the way I want it to. I almost have to watch the video to see what I'm doing. Do. Yeah, we're going to skip the Payne's gray and just go with the blue, the cobalt blue. I want it just a little wetter than that. Can't talk. Parting. My instinct is to panic because of how dark that is, but I know that it's not going to dry that dark. I know that it is not. are we doing on time? It's already 7:30. Kitties are eating again. I didn't know the kitties had stopped eating. Do you just mean it's time for the kitties to eat again, or do you mean that they had stopped eating and they have resumed eating, or Ivy's got some feral kittens that she's raising? Now, what can we do now? That some more orange. What else is there to talk about? A lot of this process is just filling in the gaps now. I'm not even sure how to make this last until 9. Do do do. I used to be able to tell my little girl to sing when things got too quiet. I'd say, "Sing something for us, baby," and she'd sing. She still sings. She still sings. What brand of watercolor? This is Winsor and Newton. Almost all of it is Winsor and Newton. We joke, said earlier, we joke about this being my kids' college fund because these are professional grade watercolors. And they're not inexpensive. They're not top of the line, but I do love the amount of pigment that they have in them. They really do suit my needs. Now, I'm going to come back with some blue on these stems. Then we may come in with some gouache highlights. I think it's coming along nicely. My problem is that I want to come in with ink. I want to come back and ink it. I have been doing that for so long now that it seems unfinished if I don't ink it. But it's not that kind of pumpkin. Just not that kind of watercolor. I'll show you here in a minute what I mean. If you haven't been watching the morning shows, you may not be aware of the kind of illustration that I've been doing. So let me do this real quick, and I will show you. Let me just do this real quick here. Taking a little gouache and some lemon yellow. Add in some of these moonlight highlights and some of the highlights from where that glow is hitting this pumpkin. I'm going to let them set up just a second. Now I'm going to come back and spread them around. So that they're not so stark. Especially this reflection of this smile. The problem with gouache is it dulls everything. You lose your impact if you use too much of it. I think that's enough of that for now. Let's let that set for just a second. Make sure I get all the paint out of my paintbrush. I don't want that to set in my paintbrush. It's just watercolor. It'll soak up. I can rinse it out. I can rinse it out later. But this is the kind of stuff I'm doing on the morning show. And you can. Here's an interesting thing. Here is this one from this morning, right? This is the first one after I got my glasses, and this is what it was like before I got my glasses. So I mean, they're good before I got my glasses, but you can certainly tell. I can certainly tell when I went from that to having my glasses. The amount of detail that I can see when I got my glasses back. So yeah, I have this very strong instinct to want to come back with ink on this. So let me dry this real quick. Oh, it's so exciting. I can't tell if that's wet or if that's just shiny. I think that's just shiny. You know, they're talking in the chat about how when I first started, I encouraged people to use the inexpensive watercolors. I still encourage people to use the inexpensive watercolors. I'm only using the Winsor Newtons because that's what I have. I would be just as happy using Crayola watercolors. I am not by any stretch of the imagination married to the high-end watercolors, especially the way this is marketed. Because if I were to sell this, I probably would not sell this painting. I would probably sell a print of this painting. And if that's the case, what do I care if it's archival? You know, that's the big thing everybody's worried about is that is archival. You know, and what do I care if it's archival? If if it's uh, if it's going to be a photograph that I'm going to have turned into a if it's a photograph that I'm going to have turned into a coffee mug or a T-shirt. What do I care if it's archival? So I still encourage people to use the less expensive watercolors. Ah, wasn't wasn't expecting to look up and see me looking back. Can't talk, Harding. Ooh, it's so funny how the humidity is so high here, but the watercolors soak up and dry so fast. When I watercolor in the mornings, I'll spritz my watercolors before the show, and by the time I get to the watercolors, my watercolors are dried out, and I can't. It's just amazing to me how fast that happens, especially with how high the humidity is. You would think that as high, you would think that the watercolors would stay wet a whole lot longer here than they do. I have to both keep my head out of the camera and stay where I can see past the glare. But you know, it used to be uh, if you wanted it to stay, if you wanted something to last a long time, you had to use the high end watercolors. You had to use the high end paints. But we don't do that anymore. What I was alluding to a moment ago, we don't. This isn't going to a gallery. This, if it does anything, is going to go probably to my card collection so that I can make a Halloween card out of it for next year. If anything, it may never do anything besides what we're doing right now. It may never be anything more than just a good time with my besties. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. To my personal storage. A lot of my stuff ends up in my mother's personal storage. It's funny how that happens. I'll go over to my mom's house for lunch and see one of my paintings on her wall. I'm like, what? How did that even happen? I have no idea how that even happens. We're going to come back in with some silver linings. Very sparingly. Very sparingly. Just enough. Just enough. I may want to go over that sky one more time with some blue or something. I'm not impressed with how dark this is. So I'm going to start with that, because that should be super dark next to the pumpkins. So I'm going to start there. I have a little bit of a vibrato in my hands that I didn't used to have. Ivy said she likes the term. We were talking on the community chats the other day. She says her hands shake, and I was like, "Yeah, that's vibrato. That's because you're a virtuoso. It's vibrato and it's artistic." And then we'll reinforce our bats. Then I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to add some dark spatters, because I like that. But I need to protect the orange when I do. So let's lay that across there like that. And what have I got round? Have I got something round that I can use to protect? Yeah. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. If only I had something round. That way I can get some of this going across here and not worry about getting it on my pumpkins. And I can get some of this going across here and not worry about getting it on my pumpkins. Same thing could be done going this way. I could. Well, I wish I had an Oscar weed. No, that's not what I was saying. There we go. That's what I need right there. Can't do it from that direction. I have to turn it. Everything's falling. This is the problem with disorganization. Let's do the opposite with the gouache and yellow. All right. How are we doing on time? It's only 8 o'clock. What are we supposed to do for the next hour? I don't have any easels to show off. Except my own, and that gets boring. If anybody has any questions about the process, feel free to type up, or if you have any suggestions. Thanks for stopping by, Linda. Or if you have any suggestions, share with the class. If you have any criticisms, I really don't care. A black cat. Draw a cat. You know what I could do is I could redo this as an illustration with ink. We have time. It's not like we don't have time. I'm not happy here. I might have been happier if that had just stayed a pumpkin. I'm not happy with what's going on there. And I'm not sure how to fix it. Maybe I could come back in with some darker orange around the edges. I'm just not sure how to fix it. I have essence of jack-o'-lantern going on there, and that's cool, but it's just not there for me. It's just not where I wanted it to be. And so the instinct is to keep messing with it. I'm not going to. I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop right there on this one. I'm going to come down here with some very, very dark orange. Then touch of Payne's Gray. In a very strong, in a very tight tip. Like that. Dun dun dun. So, how do we get that? How do we get that in the light so that you can see it? I think it turned out pretty well. I think it did. I think it did. I think it did. I can see now that there needs to be a highlight there. And I need a highlight there. But then I need it to be darker there. He said he was going to quit fussing with it. What? I thought he was going to. I thought he was done. Didn't he say he was going to quit fussing with it? That's what he said. That's what I said. Lied. Lied. I think that helped. Hi, Mama Linksy. She said all artists be like that. He said he was going to stop. Yeah. Couldn't help himself. What happened is his paint dried. I could see where there was room for improvement. Can't talk. Overworking. He said he was done. He said he was not going to do anymore. What's he doing? Typical, typical man. All right, now I'm done. Now I'm not doing any more. Just this one. All right, let's peel this off. Hang it up. Let it dry. Where is my blade here? This is an Arches watercolor pad. Hot press. I like so it's smooth. So if I do decide to ink something, the ink doesn't mottle. I wanted to try it out. I do like the fact that it doesn't warp as much as the mixed media paper does. But even at 300 pounds in an art block, you can still see it's still got some warpage. I can iron that, do stuff to it. I feel like I need to hit that. I've been working with acrylic for so long. I feel like I need to hit that with some acrylic coating to give it that sheen, so that it'll stand out nice and shiny. So anyway, that's that one. Let's set that aside. What do we want to do? Do we want to do a cat? Do we want to redo that one as an illustration? What sounds exciting? I know the instinct is to shout out, draw a cat. Because that's been a tradition for so long, but I am not at this precise moment prepared to draw a cat. I tell you what though, draw a bat. I tell you what, let's do. Let's take a potty break. And let's regroup here in about, 5-10 minutes. I've never taken a potty break midstream before. I don't know how long you're supposed to take for a potty break. But we're going to write potty break right here. Or a spider. You know what? We could do a spider. If you guys will hang on just a minute, about 5 minutes, I will be right back and we'll do a spider. There's no coffee made. What kind of world am I living in with no coffee made? It's like my kids don't even love me anymore. There's no coffee. I could have made coffee. But you would think in a house full of children that love their father, there would already be coffee made. But no, alas, I have to switch to Coca-Cola. Heartbreaking. Heartbreaking to have to switch to Coca-Cola because there's no coffee made. Okay, Mama. Mama Linksy. I think I will probably do a spider as an illustration. Let's see if there's a blank page in this book. My book that I typically do illustrations in. This one has pinups and calculations and stuff that will get me banned from YouTube. Hands. Oh, there's a spider. Let's see if this sketchbook. Yeah, see. My hand studies. Pinup studies. These are old pinup studies. Still one of my all-time favorites. Let's find something that won't get me kicked off of YouTube. And let's go with that page right there. And we will illustrate a spider. We can do that. We got about 45 minutes, 40 minutes left in the show. Ivy said she heard Coke is back to sugarcane sugar. We live down here where you can get the Mexican Coke. That sounds horrible. Mexican Coca-Cola. Mexican Coca-Cola has cane sugar in it, not the high fructose corn syrup. All of the sodas at the Hispanic grocery stores, there's a lid. I had a lid to this, and I don't see it. I have these really cool little metallic lids that slip over my pencils so that I don't break the tips off of them. And I don't see what I've done with it. Ah, there it is. So, yeah, see these little tips? They're slotted in grooves, so when you put them over your pencil, it'll protect that sharpened pencil for you. That's really handy when you throw your pencils into your motorcycle bag and drive off. Now let's see, where's my phone? Here's my phone. Let's find this. Let's see if I could draw a spider from imagination, but it would look like a spider drawn from imagination. Let's see what Instagram has. I have to be careful even opening my Instagram feed on YouTube. My Instagram feed is all mushrooms and frogs and snails and scantily clad women. I kid you not. It's like 5 scantily clad women, a mushroom, 5 scantily clad women, a snail, 5 scantily clad women. It's horrible. I can't believe it happens that way. I have to subscribe to them because, you know, I'm a man. What am I doing? I'm looking for a spider picture. Ooh, look at that one. That'll work. Where did it go? Dun dun dun. Oh, don't be rotating on me. Let me turn off the screen rotation so that I can show you. There's a button for it somewhere. Auto rotate. There we go. Now I can do that. I'm not going to worry so much about he's got the markings. This is AI. He's got the markings from Venom on him. I'm not going to worry so much about that. I really just like the pose. So let's do that. Let's see here. We can set all this aside. We can pull out the morning tools. I've got my pencils. We can put these tools away because I'll not be using them again until next Thursday. There's that. I never even used my line brush. I should have used my line brush. I could have got some really unique markings that way, but no. Forgot it was there. Completely forgot it was there. Okay. I have to have everything out in front of me. I don't work well with stuff hidden in cans and boxes. All right. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so we'll start with the edges of the diagram because I don't want the illustration getting too close to the edge of the page. You know what's not playing? My music is not playing. Did anybody notice there's no music playing? Is there supposed to be music playing? Usually I have music playing, but I usually can't hear it, so I don't think about it. It's usually just something subtle in the background to cover when I have dead air. In the mornings when I do this, I'd be telling you all kinds of tales about spiders. Like I would tell you that they're arachnidae, that they're in the same classification as they're in the same family as scorpions and other insectidae that don't have six legs because they have more than 6 legs. They're not bugs. They're not insects. They're arachnids. But they're still in. I would have all kinds of cool facts to tell you, but we're not going to do that because this isn't that kind of show. This isn't that kind of show. We do that in the mornings. Tomorrow morning we're doing a black bear, which I did a brown bear just a few weeks ago, and so most of the stuff I talked about that I will talk about on the black bear is almost exactly what we talked about on the brown bear. So it's almost like the show is already done before I even started the research. You'll have that sometimes. These legs are all tangled up, so you have to draw them where they are. I almost didn't give myself enough room. I have to get this done and put away before my wife comes home. My wife would freak out. She's not a fan of the spiders. Not a fan. And this one's AI. So this little tuft of hair blowing around on my tabletop is making me feel like I'm infested with spiders. Can't talk. Farting. Ah! The tabletop just moved all by itself. He should have she should have 7 little eyes here. So I'm not going to get too hung up on that detail. Did everybody leave? Is everybody still going? Do, 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 do. The beauty of this is I can just have some fun with it. This is the kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff that I just love. I just love doing. So I can just have some fun with it. Especially since it's not realistic at all. He's got bony little legs. Ivy's here. My mom's still here. Good. I was alone. I was so scared. Left me alone with the spiders. They left me alone with the spiders. But without having any fun facts to talk about, it's awfully quiet. We're gonna have to figure out how to get my mom on speakerphone. She said the computer was the telephone was causing friction with her computer, or the computer was causing friction with the static on the telephone. Something. So we'll have to figure out how to do that. Because it's awfully quiet in here without the fun facts. But you can see we did a quick block in just to map out where all the legs were going to fall, where the body was going to fall. Probably could have moved everything a little further to the left without too much struggle, but it'll be all right. It'll all work out. There we go. One spider. Where is my kneaded eraser? Mama Lynxie went to read to her kids. I'm curious what she read. Did she read The Spider and the Fly? This is, it's got the body style. Ivy asked what kind of spider it is. It's got the body style of a black widow, the long spindly legs, the smooth bulbous abdomen, but it has the markings of uh, venom from Spider-Man on it. So I know it's AI. But it looks like it was loosely based on a Black Widow. If it were a tarantula or a wolf spider, it would look furry. And if it were a brown recluse, the body would be a lot smaller. And if it were a garden spider, typical garden spider, the legs would be a lot thicker. And if it was an Australian spider, we'd all already be dead because that's what they do. Didn't spritz my watercolors. I wasn't prepared. I'm not using the College Fund watercolors on this. Not because I think this isn't worth College Fund watercolors, but because I'm already accustomed to this palette for the illustrations. So let's start with, I make my own Payne's gray. I've got a midnight blue, a cobalt blue, and a touch of black. And I just make my own Payne's gray. And we'll go through and put the grisaille. We'll go through and put the grisaille shading in. Because that is, without a doubt, my favorite part of the whole process. I probably never told you this, but this is my favorite part of the whole process. This is, to me, this is the whole part that gives the whole thing shape. Once you do this part, it looks like the object that you're trying to draw. You've probably never heard me say that before. But without a doubt, this is my favorite part. Look at how fast those legs start to look like legs. How everything starts to look like it's got shape and depth. I just love it so much. It is hard to tell where the light source is coming from. I think the light is coming from just a little bit ahead and above. So that's how I'm going to treat it. just a little bit ahead and above. And we'll come back through. Do. I just love this. I really just love doing this. I'm glad you're here to watch me do this because it's lonely doing it by myself, and I'm happy to get to do this. Happy to get to art with my besties. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. This has been you've made this really special that I got to come back and that I came back and did this because it's been a long time since I've arted in front of people like this. I do the show the stream on the morning show, but that's sketch practice. That's not the same as this. That's not the same as just having fun with it. So I'm really happy that you guys decided to join me in this today. Now let's put some legs on him. I mean some drop shadows on him. Do. Do. That screen times out, and I guess it's timing out every 5 minutes. I thought it was timing out every 10 minutes. It's like, has it already been 10 minutes, really? It's only been 5 minutes. My mom says one of her roomies is asleep and the other one's getting ready for bed. We're not going to be very much longer. I think I'm going to finish this one and we're going to call it a night. I know it's hard. We do this stream in the morning and it's hard to to hard to do this much. I get it, truly. But look at him. Look at her. This is one of those tattoos. You could get one of these. You could get one of these as a tattoo, and people would slap you. People get these kinds of things tattooed on them, drop shadow and all. And it makes you think that there's a bug on them. and that they need to be slapped. He's got a red stripe. She has a red stripe where that venom tongue would go across through here. And then she has more teeth around the bottom. We'll get to those in a minute. Right now, I'm just going to go ahead and finish doing these legs. Then we'll dry it and ink it, and we'll be done. We will have successfully completed a Thursday night stream that I have not done in easily 5 years. That's not true. I tried to do one a few months ago, but I couldn't get into it, and I couldn't be consistent. I didn't have a plan. I wasn't interested in what I was doing, but I'm interested in this. So that is all the difference in the world. That makes all the difference in the world. I don't really need to see the picture anymore. Since it's a made-up spider anyway. I just need to be able to show you the finished product compared to the photograph when we're done. I may take this portion right here and I may illustrate it. I may cut it into a video all by itself, a standalone all by itself for YouTube, and read the spider and the fly. Come into my parlor, said the spider to the fly. Oh, no, no, said the silver-winged fly. I may have to do that. Maybe I'll get Ivy to read it. That'd be a nice collab video, Ivy. I could send you this video and you could read Spider and the Fly. We could post it as a collab. Do. I have to hold my tongue just right. This part is very, very sensitive. I don't want to cover up the spots that I made for the highlights in the spider eyes. Like that. Look at her. Look at her. Let's darken that shadow in just a little bit. Just a little bit. So yeah, the value reads darker than the legs. It separates the body and the legs from the shadow. I almost feel like we should change the color of the background so that those spots on them read white. Let me dry this real quick and we'll make that decision. I am not on Discord. I was on Discord, and then all of the channels that I was on Discord started asking me for copies of my driver's license. And I don't like that. And so I got off of Discord. It would be one thing. You can't hear me. I'm talking over the hair dryer. Hang on a minute. I got to hold the hair dryer way up, or I'll blow those puddles of water around on the paper, and I don't want to do that. I could soak them up. Again, I'm talking while I'm hair drying. You can't hear me. I just can't help it. That puddle is taking forever. No. Oh no. Yeah, I can't help myself trying to talk over the hairdryer. Ah, goodness gracious. So, what was I saying? Oh, Discord. You asked if I was on Discord. So I was on Discord for a while, but all of the sites that I was, all of the channels on Discord that I was on started asking for copies of my driver's license. Apparently, Discord asked for, started requiring people to verify their age in the groups, and they put it on the group users, on the group moderators to do the verification. And so they all started asking for copies of my driver's license, and I'm not comfortable giving copies of my driver's license to individuals on the interwebs. Now, if Discord had said that they wanted a copy of my driver's license for verification, or if they had sent me to one of those age verification sites, uh, I might have considered it, but I was not at all interested in sharing a copy of my driver's license with with a group of strangers. So I left Discord. But everybody tells me I need to get on Discord. Everybody says, "Oh no, Discord, you got to have a Discord." And I'm like, you're probably right. Just just not happy with the idea of sharing my driver's license. Or I think that's whack. There's got to be a better way. And of course there is a better way. I could go to the sites where they don't need age verification. I could I could quit going to the sites where age verification is a thing. So I mean there is always that, right? Now that's just crazy talk. Do do do. Can't talk, Arting. But you're right. It's probably a whole lot easier to share files on Discord than anything else. I've tried Facebook. I've tried lots of different places to share files with people. Dropbox. Google Docs works. You can share files with Google Docs pretty easily. You know the problem with all this yellow is that I need some purple now. I don't have enough complementary colors. I should come back with some purple in the body. That really makes things pop when you can work the complementary colors in. I probably will. Let me finish the yellow. My mom says girl 2 is a master at Google Docs. They have to be because that's how they share their their notes in class now. The kids will sit in class with their tablets and their laptops, and they will have a shared Google Doc open between the study group while the lecture is going on, while the class is going on. And somebody will say, "What'd he say? I don't understand what he's talking about." And somebody who does understand will fill the rest of them in. One of them will make notes about what's on the board while the other one is typing everything the guy says. And everybody gets a complete set of notes. But she was in a group where they were kind of lame and not as participatory as she was, and it made her angry. And so she took her notes private. It turned out she was doing all the work, and they were just using her notes. And so she took her notes private. And got really good at Google Docs because of it. All right. So now we need to come back with some purple. If you're going to have that much yellow, you've got to have some purple. You can go a little dark, it dries light. It always dries lighter than it looks. All right. Now, let me dry that. And we'll ink it. Why didn't the fire come on? Where is the power? What's happened to my hairdryer? What's happened? Oh no! Did it burn up? Did I turn it off? What's happened? Did it come unplugged? Oh no! Did I blow a fuse? What has happened to my hairdryer? I think I've lost my button. Yeah, my button quit working. Have to figure that out for sure. All right, now let's ink it. Now let's ink it. And I'll show you some tricks. We don't talk about these tricks much on the day show, on the morning show, but I'll show you some tricks. For instance, There's some places where the ink got out of line. Nobody's going to know if I ink outside that. It'll just look like fibers on the legs. There are some places where I think the leg would look better if it were shifted over a little bit. And so what I'll do is I'll make the heavy line on the inside of one side and on the outside of the other side. And that will give it just a little bit of shift. So we're going to have a little bit of leeway with this. You'll see what I mean as I go. Especially because it's not real. With it being an AI invention, we can take a lot of liberty with it. Can't talk arting. The hardest part for me is staying on camera. As I turn the book around, I have a tendency to move it like it's in my lap. I have a tendency to move off camera or put my head in the way. I have the hardest time with that. Okay, so the schedule is I don't think. Let me see if I can. Was I going to stream this weekend? I think I might be streaming this weekend too. I think I've got a little flowered planner. The schedule. What is today? Today is the 22nd, 23rd of October. 23rd. So no, I'm not streaming this weekend. So the schedule for this Tuesday, we'll come back and we'll start the book on Tuesday. And then we'll have one more Halloweeny episode next Thursday, where I think I'll do a zombie. And then it's all book all the time until we get the hit the publication deadline. And again, I want to get the book out by in time for people to order it for Christmas, but that's a really soft deadline because truthfully, if I don't get it out by Christmas, it's not that big a deal. I still like to think about how much I'm going to learn out of the process. and how much we're going to share getting there. So we're going to have a good time with that. I think. Did I missed this leg entirely, didn't I? Did anybody sit there holding their breath? Is he going to see that leg? Is he going to notice that he didn't get that one leg? Yes, I noticed. At the very end, at the very last minute, I noticed. All right. Spider-Man, where are you coming from, Spider-Man? Nobody knows who you are. I had to introduce my kids to the electric company because every time we watched a Spider-Man movie, I would sing that song, and I'm like, where did you get that silly song, Dad? What? So I had to show them the electric company. Anyway, there's my spider. Let's stop the rotation. And there is compared to the photograph. Right? Oh, Mama Lynxie came back. And she came back to the horizontal side. Oh, thank you. Hey, Mama Lynxie, what story did you read to the kids? I'm just curious. Anyway, there's my spider. So what'd we do? We did a spider, and we did a pumpkin illustration. That's a pretty productive night, right? I think this would make a really nice Halloween card. It's too late. It's too late to get this sent out today, or get this sent out, get this sent out to press and have them sent out for next week. But I think for like next year, this might be my Halloween card for next year. We'll have to start this a little earlier next year. But anyway, that's what I did today. On the Thursday shows, eventually we're going to start having the What's on Your Easel feature back on the Thursday shows. So if you would like to be a part of What's on Your Easel, what we do is you send me an image of a photograph and a brief explanation of what you've done, and I share it with the class. I show everybody. I say, look, this is what Ivy's doing. Look, this is what Mama Lynxie's doing. Look, this is what Claudia's doing. Look, this is what Elizabeth's doing. Look, this is what Puddle's doing. And I share it with everybody, and we bring it up on the screen. We show it with everybody, and a lot of times there's some people I have to say, avert your eyes. It might be porn before we get it on the screen. But point of story is that if you have something going on, if you're whatever it is that you're arting, painting, drawing, dancing, making love to, whatever it is, share it with the class. Send it to me at blade@artisticbiker.com, and I will use your works to inspire other people, because that's what this is all about on Thursdays. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Yeah, like what you're drawing, Mama Lynxie. If you're drawing something, if you're writing poetry, if you're choreographing, absolutely, Mama Lynxie. What whatever you're doing, share it with me at bladedartisticbiker.com, and I'll share it with everybody else. So guys, thank you so much for joining me. I do look forward to this all the time. I have been doing the morning classes, and now I'm doing the Thursday classes and the Thursday show and the Tuesday shows. So I'm looking forward to that. Won't come back to the night format until Tuesday, and Tuesday we start the book. Tuesday we're going to start the book. I have an idea of some books that I want to look into, but we're going to do that together. We're going to go in and research that together. You're going to be able to follow that process, start to finish. How to search up the books, how to make sure they're copyright available. If they're not copyright available, how to go get the copyright for them, how to go get the license for them. If you really, really want to do it, I'm not at that stage in my life. Right now, I just want to do the stuff that's in the public domain. So that's what we're going to start on that Tuesday, 6:30 Tuesday night, Central Time, Texas time. So that's what we're going to start on that Tuesday. And then tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m., that's when we do the coffee and sketches. When we do the illustration with the random object like the black bear that we're going to do tomorrow, I will have a set of 9 fun facts that we can share about that. And that's it. I look forward to doing this again with you guys. I've had a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining me. Be sure and tune in next time. Same Artistic Biker time, same Artistic Biker channel. And then we dance. We dance until somebody says they see me dancing, because that lets me know that the lag has caught up with the stream. And once the lag is caught up with the stream, then I know that nothing's going to get cut off. I'm not going to get cut off mid-sentence. It gives you a chance to click the clicky thingies if you're on the horizontal this way, or